Hi everyone. So what I want to talk about today is group planning a Disney vacation. Now, when I say group, that can literally mean anything from 2 people to a big family vacation or a big group of friends, multiple generations, have kids, grandparents, extended family. It applies more to that second half. If you have 2 people, it's usually not too hard to collaborate on your planning. But what I've found, I've been booking a lot of extended families, especially, since the COVID shutdowns have lifted and people want to travel and spend time with their family who they didn't get to see as much of for the last few years. And I run into the same problem over and over again, and that is communication. So I just want to take a few minutes to have you think about, especially if you're early on in the planning process, have a communication plan. I'm not saying go grab a piece of paper and write out a step-by-step plan, but have that conversation very early in your planning process. Talk about, number 1, who is the ultimate decision maker. Yes, you want it to be a consensus, but it's really helpful when there is one final decision maker. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one person for the whole trip. It might be there's one person making final decisions on dining. There's one person making final decisions on what park you're going to go to, what day. It is often easier if it's one person planning everything. But if you have people with different interests and specialties, maybe you want to divide that final decision. You can also do it as like a vote system, but decide up front how you want those final decisions made. The second thing to remember is communicate. I cannot tell you the number of times I have had people going on the trip who tell, I usually, when I'm working with a client, I work with one point of contact, sometimes 2, and they'll communicate with the other people in the group. And they'll tell me, oh, my mother, my cousin, my aunt, I don't want to keep it all women, so we'll say my uncle, says they don't care, they're fine, they'll do whatever we do, they'll just come along with us. My own husband does that actually when we plan. I'll ask him, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't care, I'll just do whatever. Let me tell you, whether you're the one hearing that or you're the one saying that, you care. You will not just do whatever. So be aware and speak up during the planning process, because it's a lot easier to voice your opinion when you're talking and planning than it is when you're in the park and the person has planned that you're going to be jam-packed moving around for 6 hours straight, and 3 hours in you just want to relax and go watch a show. Like, you want to sit down. You will become the fuddy-duddy who doesn't want to keep up, rather than the person who says, hey, how about if we plan a sit-down lunch? Hey, I'd really like to see show X. Can we make time to go do that? So much easier in the planning process and will lead to a lot less family stress. All right, so before we go, let's talk key takeaways. Number 1, have a final decision maker. Really helpful if it's one person, okay if you divide and have multiple people. Number 2, communicate, communicate, communicate. Communicate early and often. That is the phrase that I really like to say. Over communicate, voice your opinion. It is so much easier to hash out who wants to do what in the planning process up front. And that applies whether you are working as one of my clients and I can help guide you through the process, or whether you are planning on your own. Communication is key. Ask questions if you're not sure, and speak up with what you want to do. This is everyone's vacation. All right. Have a magical day and a magical vacation.